you. All right. Good morning, guys. Good dawning. And this is with a wonderful Stefania Puleo, and she's a dating and relationships coach. So we appreciate your time, Stefania, especially how early it is in the morning here. And yeah, we appreciate your time, and we hope to hear some gold nuggets from you today.
Hello, Scott.
Information, not just gold nuggets.
Yes, hello to everybody, and thank you for having me on your show, your podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, mate. Yeah, so thank you so much for your time. I understand it's a busy lady, and we'll get into what you do. But my first question is, tell us, so what gets you out of bed every morning?
What gets me out of bed every morning? Well, that's a really interesting question, because the first thing I would say would be my dog. That's the first thing that gets me out of bed. No, I'm only being having a bit of a joke here. But she does, because she's very eager to get up and start the early dawn. Well, my passion for relationships, my passion for working with people. I just love life. I love being very expressive and sharing a lot of my own wisdom, experiences, and learnings. And I just feel that, in relationships is such a big part of our lives, but not only with other people, but with ourselves as well. And yeah, I guess I'm just so passionate about it. I always have been, but even more so, and just love learning more and more.
That's so commendable, and you're exactly right. The communities don't succeed, and they've proven over millennials that yeah, relationships is very important, especially in small, and it's obviously harder in larger communities, but in smaller communities, relationships is very, very important. I've lived in a small town for a certain period of time, and yeah, relationships can get strained because everyone knows everyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it depends on,
tight. You have to be understanding of each other. So thank you very much for helping the community do that. We appreciate that. And so I'll go into the next question. So you're a relationship coach, and
well, actually, if I can just, can you hear me, Scott? There's a bit of a lapse. Hello?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I just want to say that, relationships are my forte. Okay. Sorry, we're doubling up here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So I just wanted to say that, as I said before, it's relationships that really drives me. But I've narrowed down my niche. Like, I've narrowed down to who I really serve in the community, and I present myself as a female advocate for men. And what I do is I help high achieving men understand the truth about what women actually really want. Because this is like the golden question, right? It's $1 million question. What do women really want? So what I do is I give men the real inside information on what women truly respond to. Okay. Now, I know we're all different. However, we respond to different things. And it's not just what they want and what they say they want. It's what they actually respond to as well. And the way I do this, Scott, is through powerful mindset shifts, communication strategies, deep masculine embodiment. And I do a lot of energy work. So it's not just all mindset stuff. It's just getting into the energy, getting the mind and the heart in alignment. And I show men how to actually attract women, keep them, and because it's one thing to attract a woman, but then actually keep a woman is a different thing as well. And also, the type of woman that they desire, not just any woman, the woman that is compatible for them, without playing games, because, there's just so many games out there that people are playing. So I do it and help them without playing games or actually losing themselves in the process. So that really gives, I think, the audience a real, insight of what I really do and how I do it. And I am passionate about it. I know I am a woman delivering this, being the advocate for men. Yeah. And people say, well, why? Why do you feel that you can do this? And well, that's a
You
big
took the words
question.
right out of my mouth.
Really? Well, it's a kind of question I get all the time. So I thought, let me answer it. Well,
Yeah, correct.
apart from the deep desire that I have, but even through my own experiences, but I really see the big gap between men and women these days. And there's just so much going on. And I feel there's also so much out there for women. There's a lot of help there for women. But I truly believe that, there's not enough out there for men. And I know there's male coaches, male therapists, and that's great. I think male to male therapy and coaching is fabulous and there's a place for it. But coming from a female point of view, I'm bringing it from a female perspective. And I think that's where it's different because, I'm not here to let men know how they're supposed to feel in their bodies. No, it's not about that. But I do know how a female feels. And ultimately, men are after, wanting to attract a woman. So if they can get to understand the psychology, the, read between the lines and also help them stay in their masculine is very, very important. So yeah, that's why I do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm guilty of it too. Trying to be something that you're not, just trying to impress instead of just being your natural self, and impressing yourself more than, and then if that person wants to be with you, they'll understand that and they'll see that. Is that what you're trying to say? Because I'm guilty of that, definitely.
Well, yeah, actually, be yourself. Now, sometimes being yourself is a good thing, but sometimes can be a not so good thing. Let me explain what I mean by this. And
Yeah,
this is because we, we build habits and behaviors that have been modeled to us from a young age. And they may not necessarily be serving us in a way, or in a positive way when it comes to relationships. And this is where I think, I step in and help men particularly see it from a perspective that, hey, you do have the gift. We just need to draw it out in a way that feels natural and feels comfortable in your own body as well. Because, when both men and women, when they're, dating or trying to attract the opposite sex, what happens is we get in our heads more than we get into our bodies, into our hearts. And so when we're in our head, we're overthinking, we're articulating, we're that critical mind is just on overdrive. So what happens is we're so much in our heads that we're not connecting emotionally, spiritually, energetically with that other person. And when we can actually drop into our bodies and be able to do that and feel comfortable in our own skin, wow, that's a total game changer.
yeah, exactly right. But yeah, that we're sort of taught to, tell little white lies, and that progresses into this new mask that we walk around with. And I think when, especially on first dates, especially on new interactions. We get what would you call it? Nervous. Yeah, nervous, and we forget who we were, and we try to be something that we're not.
Exactly.
And
To impress.
especially,
You're trying to be something you think that other person wants you to be. That's what happens. So what are we
yeah,
doing? We're overthinking. We're in our heads. We're, projecting something that doesn't probably even exist to that other person. So yeah, we're
yeah,
not being authentic. And that's okay. Sometimes it just happens because we're getting into that anxious state. We're getting, our nervous system is just kicking in and we're not able to control that. Well, not even control it, calm it down or just settle into that. Even settling into the nerves, settling into the fear or the anxiety, because it is normal and we can actually use it to fuel us, in the right direction, rather than remaining focused and then thinking, oh my God, like, what have I said now she thinks I'm an idiot now. Oh my God, what is she going to think? Oh, like, I just blurted that out without even thinking. We do that. We over process everything. Can
especially
you
for
relate
men,
to that, Scott?
especially
Can
for
you relate
men,
to that?
especially for men, especially for men. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it happens a lot. Instead of yeah, just taking a deep breath and going, I can go either way with this.
Mm.
And
And this
what
is
what would I genuinely say? What would I genuinely say?
absolutely, absolutely. And this is where I think, if I can say, women have that, like, advantage only because they've, like, you know, taken the bull by the horns, so to speak. What I mean by that is they're actually working on themselves. They're evolving. They're doing the work. They're doing the spiritual work. They're doing the mental work. They're doing the emotional work. And I think, men in general, not everybody, they're starting to wake up to it, that, what's that woo-woo stuff? I don't need that. I'm a man, I that's all women stuff. Well, no, because that's energy. It's connecting. It's what women thrive on. Now, when I say this, I'm not saying men have to turn into women by doing the work. No, no, no,
Yes.
no, no. It's not about that. When
Yeah.
you do the work, you're still staying in your masculine. That's the difference. When women are
Yeah.
doing their work, they're staying in their feminine if they're doing it right. Of course, we have a bit of both. We have both male, feminine and, masculine energy. It's what we are made up of, but it's not in the um oh, I don't know what's the word, but I guess in Australian we say that the sissy sense,
Yeah.
the being too feminine. No, it's not about that. It's tapping into that energy so you also have an understanding of that other person. And in this case, if it's a woman, or for women, the masculine energy. Now, for some women, they can be too much in their masculine, and that doesn't serve them because then we got like two masculine energies together, and you have this massive clash. So yeah, there's a lot to be said about that, but this is where men, going back to doing the work, transforming, growing, evolving, becoming that better man, not just for her, okay? It's for self. Because when you're self empowered and you know where you're going and you're the architect of your life, that woman is going to be attracted to that,
Yeah.
just like that. She wants a man to lead. Even though she may want to lead, she does deep down prefer a man to lead. It's only she will step into leading when that man will show, signs that he either can't lead or refuses to lead or is afraid to lead. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yes. Yeah. The big decisions, women like to be included. Correct. But the little things. Where are we going to eat tonight? We're going here, And then I notice that, and then if they don't like it, or they just think it's too bland, or they've done it too many times, then they'll suggest something.
Right. Who will suggest that the female will suggest
Yeah, the
something?
females, yeah, because the male says, "Nah, we're going here,"
Mm.
and then they'll go, "Oh, but well,
Right.
didn't you ask me?" But that's okay. That's okay. Let's go somewhere new. Let's
Yeah,
go somewhere new.
exactly. And I think in that, particularly that kind of, situation and scenario, you know, there's nothing wrong with the man saying, well, what do you feel like eating, right? Like, I feel like, fish, or I feel like Chinese. And so you have this conversation, and she says, well, I don't know what you pick. And then he may say, oh, well, I know this really great place. I ate there with my mates, and it was amazing. I'd really like to take you there. She's going to feel led. She's
Yep.
going to feel like, like, oh, curiosity. You went there with your friends, and you deliver it in a way which is like, wow, she's going to follow.
Yeah, I've never been there before. I heard about it. But yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago. But no, I haven't been there before. So let's go there. Let's try that. That's new.
Exactly. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
try something different. I think it's also in the delivery. When you act disempowered, like, I don't know, like, what do you think? Or what do you think? Or what do you feel like? What do you, it's like this to and fro. It's like you're spending 10 minutes just trying to work out where you're going to eat. It's like, come on. It's only a meal, right?
Yeah, that it came up on my Insta feed, or my Facebook feed. I'll never look at it, but so yeah, you're right. Yeah, I have pulled that one out of the hat before too. Yes, yeah. I went there with, that's right. I went there with my mates, and let's try it out again.
Yeah.
You'll like it.
It was really good. Yeah, the steak was great. I just, and that sounds exciting for a woman to hear that, and you're
Yeah.
leading.
No, the pictures look great. The pictures look great. They look great. Let's go and check it out. But there's a sauce there.
Exactly.
There's a sauce that they get. It's fantastic. So
It's like,
so that's right. It's but they say that in business as well. When you're a CEO or anything like that, you don't always when you go to the board, for instance, you don't so this is the way we should do it. You say, well, this is an idea that's been brought up. It's how you present it.
yeah.
So you make them feel like it was their decision.
Yeah. You're leading with inspiration. You're there's this trust and inspiring energy that person is putting trust in you, because you're quite inspiring with the way that you deliver it. You're not aggressively or commanding or taking control, so to speak. Yeah, and I think some women get a bit funny about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. Some to some extent can go overboard. Maybe because it's triggering them in some way. They've had some, some trauma around
bad interactions.
control issues and everything. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. I'm a doctor of Chinese medicine. I see everything, so I get to hear all those stories. I get to, I'm Sherlock Holmes. I have to figure it out. So unfortunately, I got to ask those questions. But that's wonderful insight. Thank you so much, Stefania.
You're welcome.
So how the hell did you get into this? How'd you get into dating and relationship coaching?
How did I start? Well, it started a long time ago, unbeknown to me. Like, let me just tell you my journey of what my first profession was. Yeah, and I think everything that I've done in career-wise has led me to do what I do today. So my first profession, I was a hairstylist here in Melbourne, where I worked in a unisex salon. I worked both with men and women. And I remember when I first started, my boss at the time, actually, oh, where's that coming from? I thought I turned everything off. Sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all good.
It's all natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I was working, and I remember when I first started, my boss said to me, Stefania, you don't ask questions and you don't answer any questions. Like, people are going to talk to you about everything and anything. And you'll find that they will open up and talk about their relationships, their love life, their sex life. They'll talk about everything. And usually it's the women. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to just nod your head and say, oh, I'm sorry, or that's interesting, but don't ever give advice. So that was the rule, be the shampoo girl when I first started, and even, when I started cutting, coloring, and doing everything. And I just learned, like, people would open up, and I would hear so many stories about, their relationships, what was working, what wasn't working. And particularly the women would say, he just doesn't understand. If only he knew how I felt. If he could just see how I am, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, wow. And then the men, on the other hand, they wouldn't be lamenting like the women. They wouldn't be complaining. The men would be more strategic, and they would pick my brain and say, well, what do you think, Stefania? Do you think if I do this, she'll appreciate it? Or how do you think she'll react if I do this? So they would be picking my brain more. So that's where, and I thought, I was already like, we
Counseling.
were like counseling,
Yeah,
psychology.
that's right.
We're not allowed
Yeah,
to
that's what
say.
I used to say. I used to also say I charge extra. I charge extra for counseling.
Right. But I used to have one guy that used to come and have his haircut literally every 2 weeks. And he told me, he said, Stefania, coming to see you, you know what? It's
It's
actually
therapy.
cheaper. Yeah. And he says, it's therapy. It's
See it.
cheaper to see you getting a haircut every 2 weeks than it is to see my own therapist. And he goes, I get more out of coming here, and I get a haircut. I was like, that was the bonus. He used to get the haircut. So that's where it all started. So from hairdressing, I moved on to be a personal trainer. So I worked with, again, men and women in the gym. And, there's something about when, as a doctor, as a hairstylist, a masseur, anyone, we have the license to touch. We have the license to touch people because, that's what they come for. They come for to have their hair transformed, restyled, created differently.
Yep.
To a doctor, they've come for healing. So they expect that hands come on. So when the hands actually touch the body, there's this connection through the neuro pathways, the brain, that you just relax because you're already trusting that person to lay hands on you, right? And so what happens is people will automatically just open up and release whatever it is that they want to talk about and go deep. And I'm sure you've experienced that as a doctor, right? Where people will just go really deep, get very vulnerable, and share the most intimate stories with you. And you think, whoa, you just told me all that. You don't even know me, right? But it's because
Yes.
they feel comfortable with you. So that's what was also happening, in the salon and also in the gym, because in the gym, I would be, assisting them with weights, or, I guess guiding them, lightly touching them with how to hold their posture while doing an exercise, stretching them, because I used to stretch all my clients after a workout session. So again, the women would just release and share with me amazing, interesting stories. And the men would also, I guess, share their story. And I just thought, wow, I can really see there's a gap. There's this gap of misunderstanding, communication breakdown. How can I, help the I guess male and females, and me included, because like I was going through my journey. Don't forget, I was having my own relationships and going up and down. So that's when I started, really working and said, you know what, I want to go deeper. I want to become a coach, and then from a coach, a relationship coach, and then from there, I went deeper. I wanted to work more on the mind, the subconscious mind. How we actually think. How do we connect? And that's when I, also became a certified hypnotherapist. From there, I did NLP and then energy healing. So, really embodying it with mind, body, spirit, emotion, soul, everything. So, that's how I came about doing, becoming, the relationship coach. I did start with women. I did start coaching women, but then I pivoted very early. I didn't stay with the women too long. I pivoted and decided I would like to help the men. It has been an interesting journey. I won't lie to you. Unlike women, men are more closed off, more, they're less kumbaya-ish, I call it, with unlike women,
Yeah. Yep.
sit around circles, talk, chat, gossip, whatever you want to call it. Men are very private. No man's got a problem. They've got it under control. They've got their relationships intact. And it's not the case. It's not the case. And I guess through, just the way I deliver my messages, my, social media, I'm pretty much saying, I see you, I hear you, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that's being taught from generation to generation. I was told the same thing. Why are you crying? Shut up. You shouldn't be crying. You should be showing your strength. You should be showing your ability to be able to, be like a duck, basically, and let the water run off your back. I was told the same thing. But all
Yes,
guys are told the same thing.
absolutely, absolutely. And, I think it's not about, I think it's allowing the males the space, and I don't think that they were allowed the space, the space to release not only tears but anger,
Mm.
suppressed anger, suppressed sadness, fear. That it's okay to feel the fear, but they weren't shown how to let go of it. They were just shown to suppress it, and when you suppress an emotion like that, it will only fester up and resurface when you're triggered. And that's why they call them, um, trigger responses or trauma responses, where something happens and you just like might lash out, or there's this overwhelm of something, anger, fear, frustration, rage. And it's not that very thing that you're upset about that's just triggered you. It goes way back to when.
Yeah. Exactly right. Absolutely. And I treated men as well. I've treated many women, and in exactly the same boat, Stefania. Women seem to be more in tune with their bodies,
Mm.
but men. Sorry, guys. It is. Yeah, it's just because we're taught that way. We're taught not to look. And like you said, um, it's unfortunate, but women look more into the outside of themselves, but they can't see inside. So because they can't see inside, they don't worry about it. But guys, they don't look at themselves outside, and they don't look at themselves inside.
Right, right.
So yeah,
So
so
it's just it's a programming, it's just how
yeah,
you've been programmed. It's how we've been programmed. But this
correct.
is where, the work that I do, you can reprogram that.
Yeah, reprogram that. Yeah,
you can reprogram it all. It's not
Absolutely.
fixed in stone. It's just something. It's like a program in your computer. You can delete it, replace it. Obviously, there's a different process when you're dealing with people. However, it can be. It can't be done overnight,
Yeah.
but you definitely can. And all you need is that willingness and that commitment to want to do the work on yourself. And it involves it's not all highs and it's not all lows. It involves facing some things that maybe we don't want to face. It involve being vulnerable, feeling a certain way that oh my God, I feel like I'm going to die. It's just the die off of the ego. The ego is just what's stopping us, basically.
No, how could you say that, Stefania? How can you say that we are our own worst enemies? No way. We look after ourselves. It's a lot of rubbish. People, yeah, they are their own worst enemies. And sorry, but I put my hand up. I can
Yeah,
be myself.
me
My own
too.
worst.
I've been there. I've done that. I'm definitely, and it's easy to fall back into that. Let me just say that the journey
Easy.
is
Hello.
is
Yep.
continuous. It's a continuous work on self,
Uh-huh.
and relationships.
Yeah, definitely. And so you became a hairdresser. How long did you do that for? Did you do it for a fair while?
Oh yeah, because before I left hairdressing, totally, I went off and joined cruise ships, doing
Oh, did you?
hairstyling on cruise ships. Yeah, and I
Oh, yeah,
sailed
yeah.
around the world for about 3 years, um,
Very cool.
working for Princess Cruise Lines, which was amazing. I love that because I've always been a traveler. I love traveling, and I thought, well, how can I work and still earn money and still travel? So that was my option back then, and yeah, it was great. So I did that, and then after I did stop the hairdressing and went into personal training, I never went back into hairdressing like in a salon. I did hair just for love, family,
Yeah, yeah.
friends,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
never really went back into a salon. I do miss the salon atmosphere. I miss the salon energy, dynamics of, fashion, creativeness, and people, connecting with people. But I don't miss the long hours. The hours were really
Yeah.
excruciating, and towards the end, your shoulders ache. Blow waving style, and it was on your feet.
All day.
14, 15-hour days. It's a lot of work.
That's why I've treated a lot of hairdressers. That's why I know a lot about what they do. And I remember one hairdresser. She said, "I'm like a billboard." So
Yeah,
what she meant was everyone that came to her, she knew, like, there's 6 points of separation. She would know just about everyone in the community in some way or another.
mm,
What I mean by that is that everyone was, a lot of people were coming to her, but she would know, she'd be walking down the street, and a lady that she was doing the hair for, their kids would be there, and of course they've come to the salon because they've had, they're going to stay with her while she's at the salon, so they know her. So that, she'd be walking down the street, and these kids would be waving at her like, "How are you?" And she, "How are you?" Because I know them through such and such. Or she'd see a guy down the road, and she's the husband of another client, or she'd see another lady that is the sister of a client.
mm.
So she knew everyone in the community because they all came to her to get, especially the women. So, and that's what she said. I was a local community board, and she actually had a community board in her salon,
Oh, did she?
and people could put their business cards up on a billboard.
Right, right. Yeah. I wasn't in a small town. I was here in Melbourne, like in the southeastern suburbs, and it was, yeah, there was a lot of people, but in that complex, that little shopping center, like everybody knew everybody.
Yep.
And you'd think there was one time, let me tell you, where I was doing the the lady's hair and I was doing her husband's hair. So husband and wife were coming in and the kids, right? I was doing the whole family. So she would come in separately and he would come in separately. So, well, I'm not going to mention names. So this is like many, many years ago. But she decided she wanted, she ventured out and had an affair.
Oh, right.
And she shared that. She shared she was having an affair with someone, but she was having her hair done by me. So she was.
That's what I mean. So it was in the salon.
Yeah, she shared that with me. Yeah. And that's okay. Like, no judgment. Okay. And she was doing all the talking and how she was feeling and how so-and-so wasn't, she just didn't feel emotionally connected to her husband. And I guess she was trying to justify a little bit why she had an affair. So he then came in 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, and he started opening up and saying, my wife's, I don't know, I just see that she's a little bit different. I know I'm putting in a lot of hours and I'm, really trying to keep it together. And he was saying his point. And like, I'm going, oh my God, I know your wife is having an affair. Could you imagine what situation I was in? Like, I couldn't say anything. It wasn't my place to say anything, but I could see the dynamics of the relationship. This is what I'm getting to, where she had to go outside her marriage to get that fulfillment, which, obviously was more than just sex. Sex was part of it, but it was the emotional connection that she was looking for in this case, because he was busy putting in the hours, working hard, being the diligent husband, the father to his children, making sure that he was also present to them, but he wasn't being present emotionally. He was being a provider materialistically, but not providing, not connecting, not checking in with his wife, or her checking in also with him and saying, hey, it works both ways. I always say you need two hands to clap. You can't clap just with one hand. So, that was a really interesting time and in situation whilst working in the salon. So just to tell you, lots of stories and how they can really get interwound and.
Yeah, well, you're there for hair. Nothing else.
Exactly.
They're there.
So I was doing my job. I was both giving them their styles, their haircuts, their whatever.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So that's when you had the penny drop. That's when you realized. This is where this is a career.
Well, actually, the penny dropped. Oh, that's when it dropped for relationships. Absolutely. Particularly as I moved on to personal training. But when I went to Italy, because I lived over there for a while and I taught English as a second language, as another job, that's when it really dropped as well to work specifically with men, I must say.
Yeah, right.
And that's where the Gentleman's Square was, given birth, I'd say, because the Gentleman's Square, the name came about where I used to live in Syracuse. Not sure if you know where that is. It's in the southern part of Italy and the island of Sicily. And of course, Italy's full of cathedrals, squares, and just beautiful. And I used to walk across the Il Duomo, which is a cathedral, the piazza in Italian, it's called piazza. And I would always be intrigued watching men together in groups, smoking, coffee, some playing cards. They were just all in their little groups. And I'd walk through the square, through the piazza, and I went, look at this. In Italian, I said, oh, Piazza degli Uomini, which means, it translated in English, the Gentleman's Square. And that's when I lit up and went, oh my God, Piazza degli Uomini, the Gentleman's Square, the Gentleman's Square. How perfect. Because, square, men are very logical, linear, compartmentalize everything. It just, wow, felt amazing, felt right, and fell into its place with what I do.
That's a cool story. That's a pretty good story. So that's yeah, okay, you got it there. So the Gentleman Square. So that's your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Oh yes, you got it on Insta as well and Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah, everything is the Gentleman Square. So, sure, I'm Stefania Puleo, the founder of the Gentleman Square. Yeah, but it's under that umbrella because my goal, my mission is to, evolve the Gentleman Square into being a movement. That's what my goal is. It's a movement. It's not just, it's a place where men can come together and be themselves, a safe space.
Yeah, we don't have that really here in Australia. We don't really have that where guys. It's usually a pub or something like that. Like you said, it's not something that we do in Australia. Is that go out and play cards or play chess. Whereas in Europe they do. I know that there's especially chess. There's many chess clubs over there, and they play it in the park. They got well, you rarely see it here in Australia. You don't see chess sets set up in a park here in Australia. It's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a totally different culture here. I haven't really seen it myself. It's usually guys get together down at a footy club or at a cricket game or something like that, or yeah, that's it's usually pub time. That's go down the pub and
get a few
get
beers.
sloshed. That's it. Get sloshed and then tell each other their woes for the week. So, which is, but yeah, we don't. Yeah, guys don't get together and have a cigarette and play cards or something like that. No.
Yeah. Whereas in Europe, it's a really big thing, to get together and laugh and say jokes and play games and they love it. They love it. So I think men in Australia do it differently. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
They do it differently. But that's how the Gentleman Square all came about. And from there it just evolved and grew and grew and grew. And again, when I was in Italy, the majority of my clients were men. And I did have this one situation where Mario, if I could share this story, Mario came to me because he was a lawyer and he had his own, law firm and everything. And he had recently had his partner, I think they were just living together like wife. They weren't married, but they were just, living like husband and wife. And she had a baby. They just had a baby. And it was, I think, 3 or 4 months. And he had started English lessons with me and it was all very enthusiastic. And he used to come to me just for English lessons, like speaking, because his English grammar was great, but he needed lots of practice in conversation. And he was very, very eager when he first started. And then slowly I noticed like he wasn't as enthusiastic. He was like not as keen. His energy was a little bit. And I said to him, Mario, I said, is everything okay? Like, are you still enjoying the English lessons? Like, is there something that's not right? Thinking it was all about English. And he says, no, Stefania. No. I love the English lessons. He goes, I have some problems. And I said, okay. And this is where I had already started. I was coaching online separately, but still doing my English lessons. And I said, oh, okay. And he says, I'd have nobody to talk to. I don't want to talk to my family. I don't want to talk to my friends because I don't want them to know my problem. I said, okay. And he says, I said, well, is it a health issue? Is it personal? I don't want to prod, but, I said, I am doing coaching as my other job. I said, maybe I can help you see things a little differently. And he goes, oh, he goes, it's my wife. He goes, we just had a baby, and there's no connection anymore. I just feel, he said, this is his exact words in Italian. He said he just felt like he was the donor, the sperm donor, and then used and then put to the side. And I said, oh. And he said, yes. And our relationship is falling apart. And the in-laws, they're always at our house because of the baby, and she's suffering postnatal depression and do. And I went, wow. So I said, okay, this is what we can do. I said, we do English conversation. I said, and I am a coach and a relationship coach. I said, how about I help you a little through maybe, strategically seeing things differently, doing things differently. Would you like that? I offered that to him. I said, we can still have English lessons, and he said, could you do that? And I said, yeah, why not? Let's see what, where we can go with this. And he was like, yeah. And he was really open. And well, in less than 5 months, I think it was 4 months, like total turnaround. Like this guy was fully in control of his relationship. He was back into his masculine, was able to set healthy boundaries with his in-laws, connecting with his wife emotionally, also dealing with, putting that energy, that spark, that igniting that relationship, even though they had the baby, right? There was ways around it. And I remember he was like, oh my God, Stefania, when you saved my life, until that day, nobody knew. He goes, you got to tell me. He goes, you got to swear nobody's going to know this. No, because, Italians are very proud and very there's no way that an Italian man would say that he's gone and sought help on his relationship, I said, you have my word. I'm not going to say anything. You don't say anything. If they're going to know from you, right? And so it was. And I thought, and that was that's when it all, the whole gentleman square came into it. And, I definitely want to work with men. I want to work with men. I want to work with men. And that's how it happened.
Well, I don't have to ask the third question then. The third question is your ideal client? You've already answered that one.
Yeah.
So tell us, just give us one more person that you've helped with their relationships.
One more person that I've helped. Oh, I've helped many. I've got many stories, full of stories.
What one that stands out?
One that stands out. I think Mario's one really stood out back then. But of late, I've worked. Well, let me just give you a little, a summary of, the men that I'm working with, or the issues that are really arising in today's time, right?
Yeah, or even like a common problem that you see a lot of.
Yeah,
that'd be another way you could. It doesn't have to be a specific person.
Yeah, a common thread of challenges that men are having with women are where they're in relationships with women, and the woman is checking out. They're still in a relationship, and they've either checked out. And usually this is what happens. The woman will check out months way before she actually says that she's checked out.
Yep.
That is a fact, right? It just dawns on men oh my God, where did this all come from? I never knew. I wasn't even aware that you were feeling like this, but she was, she felt like this months ago, and she checked out months ago. She was just strategically planning how she was going to make her exit. And that's the common, that's a bit of an issue that's happening at the moment. Or another one is also men that have just come out of relationships and they're feeling really hurt, like they're still, feeling that pain, that trauma, that jaded, feeling very jaded. And for some, it's not necessarily freshly just come out of a relationship. For some, they've been out of, they've severed ties even years ago, and they're still carrying that wound. They're still carrying that pain. And I believe it doesn't matter how long it's been that you've broken up, you've actually gone through a breakup, you're grieving is a loss there. And there's a wound, there's an open wound. And even if it happened 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if that wound is not treated and healed, it's going to resurface. It's like a wound that will just get infected again, and it'll come to the surface. The pus will come up. It'll break through like an infection until we pat it down and put more antibiotics or whatever on it, metaphorically. But what we're doing is we suppress it. We just go out, buy a new car, go out with a new woman, buy new clothes, I don't know, go to the gym, and we're running from the problem. Men will run from the problem rather than going within and start working internally to heal that pain, heal those scars. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I'm dealing with a lot of men that are really, and deep down, I believe every men and women, but men don't want to be alone. They want to be loved. They want to be respected. They want that ideal partner that is going to love them for who they are, not for who they want them to be. There's this longing, there's this loneliness, there's an epidemic of loneliness. That's what I'm really, really picking up. And this loneliness, this epidemic of loneliness is slowly, very slowly and surely killing people. Because as you know, Scott, being a doctor, Dr. Scott, that loneliness erodes. We just isolate, go further back, and then it starts affecting our health. And once it starts affecting our health, our mental health, did you know that, there are more, the statistics show that there are a higher percentage of men committing suicide than women.
Yeah.
You know that?
From 2018, there was it was 9 a day, and 7 of those were male.
I know, and that's a lot. They don't say that. They don't say that.
That's before the lockdowns. It's gone. Right. It's gone through the. I don't know these true statistics now, mainly because they just don't release them.
Right.
But it's gone. Yeah, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse since then.
Absolutely. So yeah, that epidemic is killing people. So this is why, once again, I do what I do. So
yeah. No one wants to talk about the elephant in the room. Exactly right, Stefania.
No. And, I'm not afraid of, speaking about that. And I speak about it with making, men in particular aware. And even for friends that do have friends that have retreated and, because usually people that do take their lives, they won't, broadcast it. The ones that do broadcast it never take their lives, generally.
But
the ones that are very, withdrawn, and you don't even see it come in, and then bam, they're just, gone over the edge.
Two mates of mine, exactly the same.
Yeah.
You thought that everything was rosy, and sure enough.
Right. So, there's no need to go there. There is help. There are a lot of, therapists, coaches, physicians out there that can help naturally, really doing the work, the inner work, not through medication, but through, natural healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're the biggest emotional suppression in history 4 years ago. And I mean, it's not hard to realize that, we're going to be a lot of lonely people out there, because they told us to have Uber Eats delivered and stay at home and watch Netflix.
I know.
So,
do you know, I've never had Uber Eats. Probably the only one. Never.
Well, I'm guilty of that.
I wouldn't even know how to order it. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like anything, you can't have too much of it. But but that's what I mean is they basically told us, I mean, look at in Queensland here, a lot of people, the Melbourneites. Oh yeah, that's right, you're one. And the Sydneyites are moving up here. Why? Because they realise that they don't have to go to work. They can just sit at home and sit on one of these all day and do their work from home. Because that's what the lockdowns did. That's what they made employers realise. We don't want people that in our employment because if they get upset for whatever reason, then they can take me to the cleaners. It's ridiculous. Of course, that. No wonder there's so many people that are lonely.
Absolutely.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Can't understand it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, that's why I organise, I'm not sure if you know this, but I organise singles events here in Melbourne.
Excellent. Excellent.
So once a month, I'm doing my next event in end of September, early October for couples, for singles, sorry, that want to meet their ideal
singles that want to be couples.
Yeah,
singles that want to be couples.
Yeah, I like that. Singles. It's called Exclusive Singles Event in Melbourne. So I hold 45 plus couple singles, which I've had couples connect and are still connected, still dating till this date, which is amazing. And I have a few younger, singles that say, "Oh, Stefania, why don't you do something for our age group?" So I'm thinking of doing something like that, more fun, more just meet and greet. Whereas the 45 plus is a little bit more structured, where they get to meet, connect mentally, physically, and emotionally. So there's games, there's interaction, there's dancing, there's
cool.
It's a little bit more focus driven, I would say, and for more the conscious, mature person that wants to meet like-minded individuals.
Awesome. So when is that? That's late October, is it?
No, late September, early October. I haven't set a date yet, but I'll let you know, and you can broadcast it however you want. But yeah. So for anyone that's in Melbourne or lives in Melbourne and would like to come along, I'll have all details through Eventbrite, ticketing. It'll be. They've all been successful. They're like very exclusive parties, like 45, 50 people max. There's not like hundreds of people, which makes it more intimate, more fun, more exciting. Yeah. Everyone that I haven't had one for a couple of months just because I've had a lot going on. And it was, Stefania, when's your next event? When's your next event? When are you having your next event? I was like, okay.
Well, that's excellent. That's great.
Yeah.
That's magic. We got a comment. So Sam Lee. So it sounds like an amazing episode. So yeah. So Sam, if you're in Melbourne, check out Stefania's socials here. There's plenty to choose from.
I know. Subscribe to my YouTube. Really trying to grow my YouTube channel at the moment. So lots of great free content on that. And you got my free books as well, my free ebooks. 5 ways to make juicier connections with a woman or attract your ideal partner. That's another one as well. Yeah. So there's, or if anyone wants to really, set a time with me and book a strategy call where we can talk about your own personal situation and help you whichever way that you need help in, whether it be in your own personal relationship or your relationship with a partner or wanting to find that special one.
We've run out of time, Stefania. I want to ask you so much more because you've got a book as well, so that's magic. I'll just go to the last question. So I might get you to come back on another day. I will. So what ideas or information would you give to provide lifelong longevity? That's my last one. Lifelong longevity.
I would say, you know, make the time to get to know yourself. And this goes across the board, males and females. Really spend time to go within and get to know who you really are, and what find out what really like excites you, what lights you up. And when you find that thing, like really dive deep into it to bring more joy, more happiness. Because when we're happy and we're joyful and we're doing that thing that we love doing, whether it's sport or reading or creating, painting, because a lot of us, we do have those, we're all creative, we all have those passions, but a lot of the times we put them aside. And you think, well, what's that got to do with relationships? Well, if you're happy and you're doing what inspires you and what lights you up, well, then that person that you're wanting to attract is going to be attracted to that quality of you being
Yep.
lit up on your own. You don't need
Yeah,
someone to light you up. Does that make sense? So you
yeah,
find
yes.
that passion, that light, that fun, joyous thing you like to do, that will give you longevity in life in every which way.
I think it's in a movie. It's in a Will Smith movie. I can't remember. It was a dating movie, and he was talking about pick a song that you know the words to and sing it aloud in front of a whole crowd, and then you know that you're happy in your own skin. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it is absolutely, because if you're embodying that, and when you're embodying that and you're comfortable in your own skin, man, that's just the best you're going to feel, and you're going to emanate that energy to people, and they're going to feel that energy and feel good in your company.
Yep, and the people that will be attracted to you, the people that
Exactly. Oh, it's
the
a
people
no-brainer.
that want to be with you, the people that want to be with you will resonate with what you're singing about,
Yeah.
or what you're trying to say. So thank you so much, Stefania. You've been so wonderful, a wonderful guest, and we appreciate your time. And I got some gold nuggets out of it, that's for sure. So
Mm.
because you didn't bag me too much, I'm going to give you access to my health club. So there it is there, bronze membership. You get it for free. So it's $11 worth. You get access for 1 month. And I teach you, there's 9 modules. So over 60 lessons. So I teach, you will probably already know it. You're a PT. So I teach you about EFT, emotional freedom technique, meditation, nutrition. I teach you about exercise, how to plan it and all that sort of business. And
Oh, wow.
it's over 60 lessons. So it's pretty comprehensive. So you get access to that. And
Thank you.
Sam Lee, you get access too, mate, because you actually asked the question. So
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Nice to have you on the show.
so if anyone wants to get in contact with Stefania, please do so about her upcoming events and obviously her books as well. And it's all there. So much appreciated for your time, Stefania.
Thank you, Scott. I really appreciate you for having me on your show.
All right, guys, you have a great day. And you've been watching the Get Busy Living podcast with the wonderful Stefania.